What's going on, everybody? I am Desmond Scott, and welcome to another episode of Shifts and Stories, a podcast dedicated to my clients to talk about the mental shifts and the stories behind them. Today on the podcast, I have with me none other the president, the vice president, the secretary, the daggone commissioner, the county councilor, whatever he wants to be, he is to you and to your kids. Levon Barnes, everybody.
Man,
What's up, my boy?
Man, I should pay you some real good money for that daggone introduction right there, man. I wish I could get somebody to do that with me on the road.
Yeah, man,
Absolutely.
you do a lot, my boy.
Yeah, man.
So let's talk about it. Who are you? What do you do? And all of the goods.
Man, who am I? My name is Levon Barnes. I'm the son of Margie and Joseph Barnes. Born and raised in Staten Island, New York. And I'm a public school teacher in year 20. I'm a basketball coach. I'm a mentor. I'm in the political world. I'm all things community driven, and spiritually driven too. So I do a lot of different things, but my main focus has always been to leave a trail that others can follow and then supersede. So paying it forward to those who paid it to me is my responsibility.
That's good. Where did that drive and desire come from?
I mean, I think it came from life experiences. So I lost my dad when I was 9 years old. The few memories that I have of my father was he was a business owner like yourself, owned the supper clubs. The underground was what it was called back then. But one thing that I do remember about him was that he gave opportunities to a lot of folks that society pretty much threw away, want to throw away. A lot of war vets that were going through things. He would give anybody an opportunity, right? And the other thing that I really saw from him was his spirit of community. Every Christmas, the business was in a neighborhood that was riddled with crack at the time. It was violence, and he was one of the few black business owners on that block. And to my opinion, a lot of people respected that space and didn't bring a lot of that nonsense over there. But he wound up giving gifts to every kid, Christmas gifts to every kid in that community that wanted one.
Yeah.
So those are things that I remember. And then, of course, my mom is just a family first. She's one of 16. And all I've known from her is her giving heart. She is where I get my spiritual center from too, my groundation. But yeah, so that's kind of the seeds that were planted in me was somebody's giving you something. You have to embrace that, and then your job is to tell somebody else and not keep it for yourself. So that's where I got that from.
Got it. So he sounded like a man who did it for himself, his family, and others. And you too are blazing that same trail.
Yeah.
Congratulations to that.
Yeah.
You are doing what a lot of young men want to do, which is walk the path of their father.
Yeah.
And supersede and far excel beyond what their father has done.
Absolutely.
And I think you're doing that.
Appreciate that.
But also it sounds like that's the type of man that doesn't need help from somebody else. Because I know where you're going. So, and that's not a bad thing, right? Let's understand that's not a bad thing. But we all need help.
Yeah.
And at some point, you said you needed help from me.
Yeah.
So what made you come see me?
I think I was insane. I'll be honest with you. I've been ducking you for quite some time. I remember you came to the school that I teach at and did some group training with me and a couple of other teachers. And I remember that first day, I think we was running Now, I've been an athlete my whole life. Now, I've been a coach. Been a coach for 20 years, right? So I've been involved in athletics. And when I got into coaching world, I lost all myself because instead of me working on me, I'm working on making sure that my team was right. And that allowed me to just take on so many bad habits, whether it was eating, not sleeping, not drinking enough water, eating late. That was probably the biggest thing. And so I ballooned up, and I'm sitting and looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, how can I tell my players to be a thing and I'm not a thing myself? And then COVID hit. And I stepped on the scale at some point in COVID, probably think in and around 2021, and I saw 290 pounds on the scale, and I was just like, that ain't right.
Let me move the scales.
Yeah, let me move that. Is it off center? Is it? So I wound up stepping on, and it was 290, and I was like, yo, I need to holler at Des. And the one thing I'll say about you is you don't force nobody to come to you. Either you gonna show up, and I think one of the first questions is, what do you want out of training? It's not even like, yeah, I'll take you on. It's like, this is like your journey. My job is to help you within that journey. And I think the one thing that really made me want to be trained by you is your old school in your style. And I grew up with old school coaches. And I've always said coaches need coaches. And so your type of training was one where I also saw my boy Rod, who did a 90, and I was like, well, dang, I seen the results because I remember me and Rod worked out with a different trainer at a different spot, and I was killing Rod, and I was way out of shape, and so now I'm like, yo, I got to get with that. So that's how I came to be, and like here at Prime was like, yo, 290, nah, bro, that can't be right.
So 290 is the weight that you came in at. What year was that?
I want to say that was 2021. Sometime in and around 2021, I stepped on that scale because I think we're not even in year 3 yet.
So we're not in year 3 yet.
Right.
Or we're coming
towards
up to
year 3. I think we'll be in March.
So 2 and some change.
Yeah.
What do you weigh now?
Right now, right now, I'm probably like 220 something, 225 ish.
What's the lowest?
My lowest was 214.
There we go. Because that's what I knew what you were
Yeah,
saying.
because
y'all not about to negate where I've been.
I ain't gonna negate where I've been, which is also part of the journey of fitness.
Yeah.
And life.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've hit. My goal initially was somewhere between like I think it was like 205 to 215. And every single time I've done a challenge, I've had a life experience that at the very end of the challenge that is either throwing me off of like, yo, I'm on this run. And so like the first time it was my baby being born.
Yep.
Right. So like literally we're in the last week or coming into the last week of challenge, and my daughter was born premature, coming back from the beach while I was, supposed to be enjoying the beach, but I'm over here working out at the beach, just to make sure that I stayed consistent. And then like the second time, I think something else wound up happening. I forgot. Oh, I think I got like
your shin.
Yeah, my cellulitis in my leg, and
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
So but I will say, it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life, both professionally and personally, spiritually, to come to the gym, to be under your wing. It's taught me a lot about myself too.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you talk because you talk so well, and I enjoy hearing the growth.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna give you something back, and I want you to unpack it all. And I want you to talk to two different demographics right here, and they might merge, they might blend. Talk to the dad or the mom that their children and their schedules
Yeah.
make it impossible
Yeah.
to do what you've done.
Yeah.
And then let's also talk about the political schedule
Yeah.
that you have.
Yeah.
And schedule in general. Let's just talk about schedule.
Gotcha.
Because you're a coach.
Yep.
You do it all. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Go.
Well, like, to go back to your first point, we all can come up with excuses of why we can't until we find the reason of why I have to. So my why is really both personal and to myself, but also to my child. And so I think that for me, when I lost my dad at 9, it goes back. He was in his early 40s when he passed away. He passed away from type 2 diabetes, the complications of type 2 diabetes and liver failure, right? A black man that, like, for a lot of us in culture, we don't want to see the doctor until it's too late. And by that time, it was too late, right? So as I sit here, I think I was 39 when I kind of, like, in and around 39 when I started working with you. I'm 41 now, will be 42 in November. You know, those thoughts when, you know, we found out that we were pregnant and then when Harper came, was like, for real, like, yo, you can't be eating this way. You can't be living this lifestyle that you're living and expect to see your child grow up. And for me, that was like the main thing. It was a selfish journey because, yeah, I needed to get my body right. But I really was just like, no excuses anymore. You have somebody else who's depending on you to be here. Now, we never know when our day is going to be called, but I want to try to extend as many days as I possibly can, put in at least put myself in position to live a longer life by changing my lifestyle. So I remember you had a 6 a.m. class that I loved, and at the time, my school schedule, we started at 9, I think, when I started training. So we had a 6 a.m. Workout, and I was living in Durham at the time, so it wasn't that bad where I could literally go to the gym, and I would literally go right to work, take a shower at work, and then, cool, I was there, right? Things changed when I bought a house. Moved to Mebane, which is at least 30 plus minutes away from here. So my day starts at like 3:30 in the morning. My alarm clock is 3:30 in the morning. Try to, freshen up, do what I need to do, and I got to be out the door by no later than like 4. Like 4:15. The reason why that is because we got to warm our bodies up for whatever craziness that you may have for us on any given day, whether it's cardio season or weights strength season, which we're in now. And so that required me to be disciplined. Like, I can't go to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning and expect to be my best self for workouts in 2 hours and 45 minutes of sleep. Then go through my entire day of teaching, which runs to 3:20 past 3 o'clock, and then in my school building, I'm very much a focal point. So I'm not just the teacher that can kind of hide. No, I'm the teacher that's in charge of making sure our seniors are graduate, making sure that we have other activities in the building, and these are things that I was doing prior to working out with you, but I just kept right. And so then I go home and then I'm a dad. I'm a dad until I put my baby to sleep every night, and and then I got to spend quality time with my other half and do it all over again. Mm-hmm. So you have to make a choice. You can't be out here burning the candle on both ends and think that you're really going to be productive. So that's kind of like my life now, and that was before politics in this particular run. So now my life is literally all day, all night, because the mission is to serve people. And I feel like me working out is also a way for me to de-stress from the day. So I come in here knowing that you're gonna kill us, but that's my way of saying, you know what, this is my selfish hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes for me to get better, to be ready for the day so I can help other people.
Thank you. That's good. Two things I want to touch on from what you said. I think this is a lighter part, so I'm going to answer this one first, and then I'm going to talk about the other piece. The first half is what you just commented. This is an hour to 20 minutes for me to be selfish. What did that conversation look like with your other half? What did that conversation look like with yourself to be able to make this selfish decision? And what would you say to the people or the person, that is watching this and they are afraid and or need to have that conversation?
Well, that's a loaded question, man. So the conversation with Kelly was initially when I was working out with you, she was pregnant, so she's sleeping, and so it wasn't a thing. And then my first challenge was very much like, I'm paying money further to invest into 45 days of discipline. I need your support within that discipline. Mm-hmm. And she is in every challenge, even though she look at me with the side eye, like, oh, you can't eat carbs for X amount of time, or you can only eat asparagus for this amount of time. She'll look at me in that ass, but she has always been supportive. So that has always been the key, is because it's not just my journey within some of these challenges. It's like everybody, all hands on deck, right?
Yeah.
And so very supportive on that. Your second question, give me that one more time.
So I didn't ask the second question, but it was the conversations that you had to have with yourself.
Oh yeah.
To be willing to be selfish and having that conversation with Kelly.
Well, I mean, the conversation with myself was like, do you want to live?
Yeah. Well, so because I think a lot of times people are afraid to be selfish when it comes to their health, and they don't want to take the time away from spouse and or kids. And so that's what I mean about the conversation.
Well, I mean, again, I was open in the communication on the forefront. It's not that I'm seeking permission. It's more like, I need this. Mm-hmm. In order for me to be able to give to you and to Harper and to to others, if I'm not optimally my best self, then it's going to be a struggle. Mm-hmm. Then my attitude and all the things that come with like negativity can fester, right? So the conversation with myself was like, again, do you want to live? And B, like, this is a kickstart. This isn't the be all end all, but this is like helping you get you closer to your goal. And you need to know whether or not you can do something for 45 days or 90 days. Can you do that and be consistent with that? I think that was like the set conversation within myself, right?
Got it.
It was an investment for me, an additional investment. And then the part of like others trying to figure out how to do that. Mm-hmm. I think you need to come in with a mindset is like, are you going to be consistent? If you're not disciplined, it ain't going to work for you. And when I say discipline, I mean like, you can't half this. If you half this, you're not even going to see any results in my mind. And the other thing is like, you're not doing it on your own. The great thing about doing these challenges was really the camaraderie. Before I even did a challenge, I watched Rod. I came in on the back end of their 90. And what I saw was those who were doing the 90 had like a bond. And it was like a team. And it wasn't like I'm dolo and doing this on my own. Like, yo, we're all going to hit this cardio together. We're all going. And to me, that was like, that's all I was looking for. If it was easy for me to do it by myself. I would have did it.
Yeah.
But I needed that push and that positivity from everybody else. So I would suggest to people who are trying to do this, man, don't come in with the mindset that you got to do it by yourself and all on your own. Like lean on your team, and lean on your trainers to get you through it.
So I'll wrap that up before I go to the second question. You mentioned you need to have discipline. I'm gonna tell y'all, you don't have to have the discipline when you walk through the door, but you have to be willing to be held accountable to have the discipline, right? You don't have to have it when you walk through the door, because when people start with me with a challenge or training, I said, you're coming to me because you lack discipline. And that's okay. We all lack discipline in certain areas, and this is why we hire coaches, whether it be financial coaches, life coaches, training coaches. We lack discipline in some shape, form, or fashion. And so as long as you're willing to be held accountable to the things necessary to develop the discipline and the habits, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Question number 2.
Yeah.
I'm a dad, you a dad. You mentioned your father passing away when you were 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went in and talked about wanting to be there for your child.
Yeah.
9-year-old Levon, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old Levon that did not have his daddy.
Yeah.
Talk about what you went through as that child.
Man, that was tough. You're talking about some of the more critical moments in your life are probably between 10 and 17 when it comes to like just experience. And not having a father to give you that guidance was very, very tough. I think in a lot of ways it's still very tough. What saved me in a lot of ways from being swallowed up, like a lot of my friends from, just culture, life during that time, was I did have coaches who invested a lot in me, that held me accountable. I also had OGs that respected my father enough when they saw me swaying a different way. They didn't have to do it, but I think they did it just because of the respect that they had for my father. Was they gave me like real conversation, like, to make me have to think about some things.
Mm-hmm.
Is this what you really want to do? If this is not what you really want to do, then don't let me see you out here, right? And so it was tough, but I had to figure out life in a lot of ways on my own, and I think that gave me like self-desire to not become a statistic.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I had a crazy mama too, that I love dearly, that didn't play those games. I'm like your parents call your name 3 times, on third or she was one of those to come out. And I ain't need that. I ain't want those embarrassments. But yeah, I mean, it was really like coaches, athletics kept me like engaged in life, and that pretty much was like motivating factors for me to not sway. If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't even be talking to you today. I probably wouldn't even be alive, to keep it a band.
Talk to the father.
Yeah.
Who is out of shape.
Yep.
Who just went to the doctor last week.
Yep.
Who went to the doctor 2 months ago. Who hasn't been to the doctor, let's call it 5 years.
Yeah.
Because of what the doctor said.
Yeah.
And they don't know that they are on the cusp of losing their life.
Yeah.
And they have a 9-year-old, like
Yeah.
Levon
Yeah.
or newborn,
Yeah.
and they are on the trajectory to put their kids through what you had to go through.
Yeah.
And we live in this world,
Yeah.
2024. It's not a whole lot of coaches that care like the coaches
Yeah.
that
Facts.
care for you.
Facts.
So they're leaving their kids to the world.
Yeah.
Talk to that daddy.
You know what I would tell that dad is when you became a father, your selfishness has to become selflessness because it's got to be bigger than you. I would tell that dad that there's always room for you to change. Regardless of how old you are, there's room for adaptability and to change. I would tell that dad, look at your children and look at them at night, look at them before they go to school, and be like, do I want to be around for all the highlights that they will have that I may have never had? And I think when you look at it in that aspect, when that becomes your motivation, I think you want to change. I would say if you're not seeing a doctor, you need to go find you a doctor. Now, I get it that we're sometimes culturally as black men, you know, we're supposed to be Teflon tough because of all of the things that society is thrown on our shoulders, whether we wanted it or not. But you only have one vessel. You only have one body. You only have one mind. And in order for you to be as sharp as you want to be, you have to feed your body positivity. You have to feed your body the right food. You have to feed your body the exercise that is needing to be prosperous, to be your best version for yourself and for your family and for your children. So, you know, it's never too late because, again, I was 39, I think, when I started with Des, and I didn't have a kid then. I'm 41 with a 2-year-old. Now that's, you know, we both had kids in around the same time, but there's nothing that I would not want to sacrifice for my family that is worth me not taking care of myself for. Like, I feel like, you know, we as black men have to get rid of all the mythical stuff that was taught to us in a lot of ways about, you know, just praying on it. God put people in your life for a reason. God put coaches in your life for a reason. God's put doctors in your life for a reason. We're supposed to utilize that. So, you know, I would tell them it's not too late to get started.
I think that is really good. And that will allow me to segue into this. Levon to be the best version of himself for his family and his daughter and future kids. Mm-hmm. If you could create a perfect version of that, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, what would that look like, and what can I do to help you achieve it?
It's a great question. I think the best version of me mentally is me continuing to tell myself that I have worth, that I'm worth living, and that my purpose on this earth is to try to put things in place for other people to be able to be successful. Physically, if I was to, I think it's all about my discipline and my accountability and my transparency. My weight loss or my exercise, physical fitness journey is an up and down thing. The one thing that I know that I've lacked is, you know, discipline and accountability beyond when a challenge ends or when I have all this stuff going on. You tend to revert back. It's easier to revert back. So I would say like I need to be more consistent, disciplined, focused, even when there's not a specific challenge in play. Mm-hmm. Spiritually, I wish I strive to be my mom spiritually. Her faith is one that is unshakable, and it's regimented, and it's consistent. So if I was to build myself spiritually, I would want to build myself spiritually in my mother's way, and I think I don't forgot emotionally. Man, I think just emotionally, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be soft. You don't have to have this hardened shell, and you don't have to save everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I've had, and why I gained the weight, and I felt like everybody else's problems, I was supposed to save everybody. I was supposed to have this hard shell as a coach, as a teacher, like, hey, I lost my dad when I was 9, so there's nothing worse than that. Y'all can just get over it. Let's go. And then I learned working with the young men that I have in my program, shout out to Wame, that when I watched them go from here to there, and then I listen to them speak about the experiences with me, with their brotherhood, it forces me to cry because I get to see it. I literally see their journey in a thing, and so it's okay to cry. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be to get rid of that hard exterior. So I that's what I would want for myself, is to accept that and not always feel like you got to be this stiff, rigid person. Just because, like, all these things have happened to you. No, it's all right, and it's okay. You can be soft.
That is good. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have concluded another episode of Shifts and Stories. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, give that things a thumbs up. Peace. What's going on, guys? Desmond Scott here. Again, thank you so much for watching the podcast. Do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, and concerns, hit me up on social media at Desmond L. Scott. And if you're interested in any transformation programs, the link is in the bio.